Hey, Con 130. I have a special video for you. I wanted to create something that would help you guys increase your grades and to do better in the class and to take note on past students' um, mistakes and common mistakes that happen in the class. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. All right. Welcome to 10 ways to improve your grades. Let's see. Okay, 10 ways to improve your grades because I love you guys. I want you to be super successful, and I will be referencing this video when I'm grading or talking about things. So 10 ways to improve your grades, and I chose green because it's my favorite color. So there's a little side note. Okay, 10 ways to improve your grades. Number 1, make sure that you read the instructions thoroughly. This is so important and the cause of most mistakes happening from students. So that's why I put it as number 1. Make sure you're reading through the assignment and project details, the project overview, critique report, and then the submission process. You know, it's usually always PDFs. Depending on the assignment, make sure the links are clickable and that the Facebook postings are on time, all of those things. Make sure you look over the minimum expectations. And those are just minimums. So that's going to give you like a C. Like it's the minimum expectations. Make sure you got all of those. Then the project report expectation, make sure you look through all of that. Now, with the minimum expectations, there's the design expectations, and the design expectations is what's going to bump you up to give you a better grade. And make sure that to give you an opportunity to apply the design principles that you've been working on, that you've been learning about in the beginning of the semester. And there's even a point allocation, so you know exactly what I'll be grading and how many points that is and all of those things, so that you have that idea. And don't forget to look at the examples in iLearn to help you know what I'll be looking for, to give you an idea of what a good example is, okay? Number 2, working ahead. I can't stress this enough of how important this is. When you work ahead, it's better chance for you to get a tutor. You can set up an appointment with me in my office hours. You can post your questions on Facebook and get them answered sooner. Personal things always come up. Everybody, things come up where you weren't planning on, and it just happens. Computer issues, program issues. So all of those things, and then sometimes you'll have to use your one-time use mulligan. Now, if you don't use a mulligan, like if you work ahead and you end up not using your mulligan throughout the whole semester, that mulligan actually turns into an extra credit point. So in the grading, it's already, you have that extra credit point. When you use your mulligan, that point is taken off. But mulligan is always a great thing. So I kind of put together this week schedule for you to give you an idea of how to go about your week. And this is just an idea. Maybe, after looking at this, you can kind of modify it into your own schedule, but I just wanted to give you an idea. So on Mondays, you can start on the assignment that's due on Wednesday if you haven't already started it over the weekend. So Monday, you can start the assignment. Tuesday, if you get like 75% of the assignment done on Monday, then you know what questions you want to ask by the next day. You can reach out, ask questions on our Facebook page, or email me, depending on what kind of question it is. And then you can finish it up. You can turn it in. You could submit it, do anything like that. And then Wednesday, the assignment's due, but you've already finished it. How awesome. So Wednesday, you could start working on the project because, project takes a little bit more time. You can start working on the project on Wednesday, work on the project on Thursday, and ask questions Thursday and Friday, finish it up by Friday, turn it in. And if you've had any failures with the programs or computer issues or personal things come up, you've given yourself a ton of breathing room where you're able to turn things in. You don't have to stress. You don't have to worry about it. And then Saturday, your project's due. And if you've already completed it, you get your Saturday. And take time on Saturday to look at what is ahead and plan and prepare. So that's just an example of what your schedule could look like in the week to work ahead. Number 3, now we're going to get into more project-specific details. Now, this is really important when you're resizing images. Make sure that you click on the corner. You click on the corner, you hold shift, and you drag. So click, hold, and drag, and that's going to keep all of the proportions the same as the original, but you can make it smaller or bigger. Never squish or stretch the image, and this is what I'm showing you. So the first example down here is when it's either been, brought in like this or raised up. You never want to squish or stretch the image. And then over here is when the image was stretched horizontally and squished vertically. This is squished vertically, stretched horizontally. So you never, ever, ever want to do that. A lot of designers talk about how resizing the images can really it shows you the professionals versus the amateurs. So that is a really good tip to know and to keep in mind. Number 4, tangents and tension. So what a tangent is when elements are too close together and they create this tension. So if you come over here, you see, if this is text or image or anything, you want to avoid making these tangents where they're just touching or they're almost touching. They're just so close that it's so awkward. Like with text, like text upon text, or text and images, or images and images, or element design, any element that could do this, avoid that. If you want your elements to be close, just overlap, be bold. Or if you want some space between, do that. Give them enough breathing room. You always want to give your elements breathing room, enough space to kind of, be there. Number 5, alignment. Alignment is so important. When you're creating your projects, you always want to make sure and double check that each element is aligned to something else on the page, whether it's vertically or horizontally or both. And I found this little ad, and there's so many ways that this ad was aligned. So you have, the left alignment with this text. You have the right alignment right here with this text. Those are the vertical ones. Then horizontally, you see how this text aligns with this design element, and down here, same thing. And this text, even on the top, aligns with this on the top. And even the helmet right here, the top of the helmet aligns with the top of the text. So you always want to see, what can I align this to? That makes a really great image. And you could see how there's enough space between this little biker dude and the text, and it's not too close, creating a tangent. Also, in this class, I want you guys to really practice avoiding center alignment, okay? I want you to step out of your comfort zones and be able to create something that that flows a little better than just alignment. And that's also going to help you with creating white space if you avoid centering alignment. Okay, number 6, text versus image. This is a really big one. When you are putting text on an image, you want to make sure, like, main thing you want to think about is contrast, okay? So a common mistake is that when the image is so busy, there's such a busy background that no matter what kind of text you put on there, it kind of fades into the background because the background is so busy. Another one is when the letters blend into the background, kind of similar color, similar hue, tone, brightness, all of that. And then sometimes even the text, depending on what the image is, can cause a tangent with the image or whatever's on the image. So you can see the very top one, there's beauty all around. It totally just blends in with the image. It's really hard to read. If you squint your eyes and kind of look back at your computer, that's always a good test. If you can squint your eyes and look at your design, and can you really see what stands out? So the top one is really hard to read, but then you come down here, and not only do you have the white text to contrast the colors in the background, but I added this little box to kind of separate the busyness of the background as well. As you notice, I also added contrasting fonts and sizes and things like that. So that's something to think about. And sorry, I love alignment. You can see that the T and the E are aligned and the T and the D are aligned. It's a beautiful thing. Number 7, widows and orphans. No, did I say windows? Widows and orphans. Widows is one word by itself on the line. You could see down here, and I just put placeholder text. So you see down here, this line is, or this word is all by itself. And right here, all by itself. That is what a widow is, and you never want to do that, ever want to do that, okay? So always avoid that. You know, you can switch your text around a little bit, things like that. Next is an orphan, which is one line of words by itself, whether it's starting a paragraph or ending a paragraph, and then there's this big extra space. You want to avoid doing orphans. And next is going along with more typography. Justified alignment, hyphens, and text too close to the edge. Avoid all of these. So justified alignment adds so much awkward spacing in the paragraph. If you come down here, this is an example of, it creates a nice left alignment, but don't do it because there's so many awkward spaces. And you want to make sure that your body copy has the same consistent spacing between each word. And so when you have this awkward spacing, especially, I don't know what's going on with this word, it's just bad. Just avoid it. The next is hyphens. Avoid them completely, especially when you work in InDesign. There's a little checkbox on the top. If you select all of your text, and then you check hyphens to uncheck it, and that'll get rid of your hyphens. So make sure that you don't have hyphens. You'll definitely get points taken off if you have hyphens. So then the text should never be too close to the edge, whether that's over here, you know, this text is getting really close to the edge here. And it's also really close to this image here. So you want to make sure to give enough space, especially on the edges, okay? Next is number 9, contrasting fonts. There's a lot of examples in the book of great contrasting fonts, like your title is old style and your body copy is sans serif, and you know, vice versa, or you have a script title and a sans serif body copy, or a decorative title and a old style body copy, something like that, or slab serif, anything like that. But when you contrast fonts, you want to make sure that you contrast the typefaces of what I just said, like old style with slab or sans serif, or you know, things like that. So one thing also, I'm going to say this right now, when you tell me what category of font, the category is the old style, sans serif, slab serif, all of that, please specify between slab serif and sans serif. Don't just put serif, okay? If you just put serif, you'll get a point taken off, or you know, a percentage of your points taken off. So you want to specify sans serif or slab serif, never just serif alone. Lastly, number 10, Facebook participation. Make sure that you are asking questions and answering questions. So if you have a question about something that's not too personal, not about grades or anything, but if you have a question about a project or something happened, or go ahead and answer or ask it on Facebook. Write it in our little, you know, question area, because a lot of more than likely, you might find some other of your classmates that might have the same question, and if you ask it there, then you're asking it for everyone. Then at the same time, if you know an answer to one of your peers' questions, go ahead and answer it. We're here to help each other and teach each other and uh, help guide each other. Because oftentimes, if I don't get to your question fast enough, sometimes your your peer is like online, ready to answer. So we're all about helping each other out, right? Okay, and also make sure that you're participating in the weekly discussions and that we're teaching one another and commenting on each other's posts and things like that. Lastly, once we start with your projects, you're going to be doing your critique participation. You want to make sure that um, that you are giving good critique with things that they're doing well, things that they can improve on, and um, giving some really good in-depth feedback. And that is 10 ways to improve your grades. And I hope you guys are doing well, having a great semester. And I just hope you guys are doing great.